Hey everybody, this is Chanchai. I'm gonna do a session with Be Nice to Me, or I don't know, we're calling him Noodle. I'll probably we'll see what they prefer to be called. But this is a player who's been very interested in learning VF for quite a while, and they've learned really fast. They're actually very strong for the amount of time they've played. They've only been playing only a few months. I think a player like maybe Assassin had, maybe some of the Colorado players had trained them a bit. I don't know their history, but I am impressed. They definitely have been playing Jacky, and they've been studying players like Tonkatsu, and I can see like how strong they are right away, but also where there's still a lot of stuff for them to understand about VF, even though they're going to be winning a lot of matches. They're going to beat a lot of people. My assessment of them is they're strong at the keep away game. They're playing Jacky, who's very strong at the keep away game. They're good at whiff punish too. They're very good at sequential memory from what I've seen. They're very good at kind of observing strings and kind of knowing this is how I counter it. The problem is this is where it makes it really strong in short form VF. And so I think they win a lot in short form. And I think long form they're going to win a lot too, so I'm not discounting that. But I do feel like the room for growth is in sort of the things you learn from long term VF. When you start seeing that okay, someone starts shutting you down, there's a limit to how much I can do this because your opponent is going to figure out the answer. So, what do you do when you figure out the answer? And how do you adjust to that? And then how do you move with that? And then how do you move when they find the answer to that? This is a really important part of VF. And so, I don't know if that's what we're going to see tonight, but we're going to have a good session. So, I'm going to give him a call now and we'll see how this goes. So, okay, where is this? Okay. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear that pretty well. So using Discord to call, it's always kind of fun. All right. I should tell him that I'm trying to call him on Discord. Okay. Am I the only one here? I'm the only one. Okay. I guess we're not doing voice chat. Okay. All right. Cool. They're calling. Hey there. Can you hear me? Okay.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, yeah.
Good. Good.
My V, dude. I don't get like the notifications.
No problem. That's okay. It's all good. So I have you on recording right now. How do you want me to refer to you in the voice chat? What name would you like me to use?
Mm, let's go with. Could we go with Noodle?
Noodle? All right, Noodle. You got it. All right. So go ahead and if you want, you can set up the room and I can join you, or however you want to
Okay.
do this. But yeah, I did give an introduction on this recording, and I said that there's a lot of stuff I've observed about from just playing you a little bit. But I'm really impressed with your Jacky a lot. And so the sense that I get is that you're well, one, you're really skilled. Like in general, your fighting game skills are very good. Um, and you are like you've been studying, you've been watching like high level matches. I know that you said that
Right.
you liked tonkatsu a lot, or tonchan, and
Right.
so and I see it. Like I mean, because I think when I first played you, I saw it right away. I was like, oh, this person can execute. Like you're doing combos, you're doing stuff neutral. Then I also saw that you were. It was like you had studied the move list a bit, like of the opponent. So like you studied Leon's moves, like or what, or maybe you studied me, and so I was like, oh, okay, so he's playing this, and he kind of knows to defend this way. This is I don't know what your main game is, but it reminds me of like Tekken, right? Where I'm like, this is kind of
Right.
how a Tekken player would learn the game, right? And then
Okay.
and the thing that stood out, and it's what playing Jacky helps this a lot because this is actually hard for a lot of people to do in VF. Is you play a strong keep away game, and it's not that it's hard to do in VF, but it's just more that usually the guessing game is so strong that it overpowers it. But Jacky is very good at your Jacky is especially good at doing this because of your combination of applying your knowledge of your learning. Like, to me, I'm under the impression you have good sequential memory. That like four moves into a string, you kind of know what to expect, and so you're prepared for it. That's what it feels like.
Right.
And so, but it also feels like a lot of the fights that you're winning is based on that. And but you're competent. You're very competent at the mix up game directly, but kind of how that thing flows, hard to say, right? Because we're only playing a few games, and that's where you and I in private chat I talked about like this short form versus like playing a game like Blitz. Like you said chess, and I actually was going to bring that up too because I was like, well, yeah, it's like playing Blitz or Lightning, you know.
Right.
And playing ranked is kind of like playing Blitz, right? Playing league battles is kind of like playing Lightning because it's only one game, you know. And then
Right.
but VF really shines in the long form, but especially the game's final showdown, which is to me final showdown is the real Virtua Fighter 6 because it's not much like Virtua Fighter 5 vanilla or VF5R. It's really its own game. So I treat it as like the only things that it shares are like the character models. The animations were changed, the mechanics were changed, and so Final Showdown is a very like explosive game. Every character can do a lot of damage if they know how to do it, and so it's a game that can be won very tactically. Whereas I think in the VF4 series, those would have a more strategic flow, where you'd have a lot of time to read the opponent within a single game. With Final Showdown, you have to read them pretty quick. Like you have to kind of commit early, even if you're not sure you have the full read yet. You know, and so
Yeah.
because of that, this lightning form is strong, and playing very tactically is strong. And a player might not know they're playing mostly tactically because they haven't gotten yet into the deeper strategies or the deeper flow, where like what I told you in private, the seasonal aspect of the game, where it's like, okay, now because of the way my opponent's playing, these certain things are not in play, right? If my opponent keeps
Right.
attacking and moving, I can't really throw them, right? I can when they step, and I can when I can get them to defend at very key moments, but that's going to be the tricky part, right? But then the player that's got a lot of experience kind of knows how to do that, right? And so suddenly it was working so well against all these other people. Why is it not working at them? And it's like it's because in VF it's not a just simply outplay. It's outplay what they're doing right now, and then just be attentive to how they make those changes so that you can outplay what they do after that. You know, and so that's why I'm saying it's very seasonal in this game. A lot of other games don't like they kind of do this, but they do it in a very like very A B kind of way. Virtua Fighter does this in a very robust way, and it's like there's just I already told you in private chat. There's so many rock paper scissors in this game. There's the core,
Yes.
there's the core attack loses to defense, but defense loses to throw, but throw loses to attack. And that's really
Right.
strong in this game, and it's not the same in a lot of other fighting games because a lot of other fighting games throwing either both sucks, but also it just disrupts. And throwing can actually beat attacks in other games, but again, it doesn't give you much reward. In this game, throws give a huge reward. So it's strongly like no, the throw really beats the defensive option, but the attack really blows up the throw option, right? And then defense
Right.
gets a lot of advantage from the attack option. So that's one rock paper scissors. Then there's the more Tekken or Namco like rock paper scissors that does happen, and you have a corner of the market on it that is not well built for most players at the developing level. And that's why you're going to cruise on so many developing players. And you're going to cruise on a lot of strong players too. But the ones that are still working on this part, which is that you play the keep away game really well. But actually, in general, this game is kind of hard to play the keep away game against really good guessing. The good and yet keep away is the way to beat guessing. But you've learned from studying Tonchan, you've learned from studying the move list, and from the skill set you bring to the table, you're able to play that keep away game at a level that's way higher than a lot of players actually.
Wow.
And so this has allowed you to play that game. But the thing is actually most of VF is in the mix-up game, and you'll that's what will probably stump you for a while is when strong players kind of force you into that mix up grind enough and start going, okay, I can get this guy stuck, you know? And yet keep away,
Right.
and yet in the rock, paper, scissors, keep away traditionally is the thing that beats it. So you're going to have to learn, how do I do this? How do I play keep away against the way they're going to force it? And they're going to force it in different ways because in VF, that guessing game can be forced at different ranges. It's just trickier. The further range you go, the less options you have. So this game is a very forward focused game. You have a lot more options when you're close up. You have both on offense and on defense. And that's the big key for VF. The defender also has an insane amount of options when they're up close. So eventually the day will come that you're going to feel like I have to learn how to fight up close better. It's going to happen. It's probably happening now, to be honest, because you're fighting more stronger players now, right? And
Right.
you're probably realizing, man, when these guys get in my grill, it's really hard to fight them. Um,
Yes,
and
definitely.
it's like this is where I'm feeling like this is a different game, and this is where I'm feeling, and you might even feel that insecurity where you're just like, okay, I was doing this thing, and so I found an answer to beat what they were doing, but it's not working anymore, right? And it's like because in VF the mix up, it's like we're rotating. It's like you're like you have to be a step ahead of us, you know, and
Right. You
that's
almost
very
gotta make like the call out.
but it's very insecure feeling because so what it is that you play really good Tekken in VF is what you're doing right now, and so
Right.
and
That's really how I feel it too.
but I think you do it extremely well because a lot of people try to play Tekken in VF and they just like it is too hard for them to do. You actually do it, so you know that's like a huge testament to your skill. Like it really is, and it's a huge testament to how you've adapted it, but also how you've learned from really good Jacky players. Like this is how you do it, right? And so
Right.
you are doing that. So the good thing is a lot of advanced players in VF have to like learn that. You already kind of learned that already. So it's going to be more of and you're very competent at the mix up. So I'm not saying you're weak at it at all. It's more that you're coming into VF really strong for I don't know how long have you been playing VF?
I would say maybe like 2 months.
2 months, okay. Because I it feels like you've been in the group for a while, but of course it doesn't mean you were playing that whole time. It's more like you're trying to understand this game, and it actually felt like you were studying before you played it. So, you know, but also it sounded like you were responding to other people's enthusiasm for VF and a curiosity. So, um,
Right, right. And you can't forget too that I do come from DOA 5 where like I played the
yeah,
game for like I want to say like 4 or 5 years,
yeah,
just straight, just mainly Jackie. So I feel like I kind
sure.
of cheated the system a little bit because
No,
I kind of already like mastered. You know what I mean? I
well,
kind of already knew how to do flash kick. I knew
yeah,
the moves.
well,
I just
and
I
actually
just had to learn the GF system.
that actually makes the most sense too about that you're coming from DOA 5 because I will tell you 4 years ago when I started playing with the generation that started Ultimate Showdown, and we're like coming from Dead or Alive. Um, yeah, they showed very similar skills as you, which was they were really strong at neutral, and you couldn't really confuse them with strings. And VF strings are actually very limited. They're actually very limited. So technically, strings are kind of Jacky's a little different because he's a heavy middleweight character, but his string quality I would say is actually comparable to heavyweight characters in terms of having mids and EX highs in them. Meaning like somebody can't just mash 2P automatically against Jacky. Um, and they can't do that against heavyweight characters for the same reasons, but they can do it against a lot of middleweights and a lot of light characters actually. Like a lot of times if people try to just pressure with strings, there's too many like this string doesn't have like a mid follow up here. This string doesn't have EX high. Jacky has them. So a lot of people have to kind of learn how to sometimes just crouch. Are you there? Okay. Okay. You're back. Can you hear me okay? All right. Let me know if you can hear me. All right, we're gonna recall. We're gonna call them back. I see them, but I don't hear. So we're gonna try it again. All right, can you hear me now?
Oh, yep, all
Okay.
back to normal.
Okay, back to normal. Yeah. So, anyways, okay, Dead or Alive 5 makes more sense for why you're as strong as you are too, and that you must have been a very strong Dead or Alive player. I learned a lot about fighting the neutral in my own game in Virtua Fighter from fighting Dead or Alive players. They
Right.
typically their neutral skills were stronger than a lot of the typical VF players because the skill that actually becomes super important in VF is how to fight at like small advantage and small disadvantage, and then how to fight at big advantage and big disadvantage. It's really mostly that, and that's a very different thing. Like Dead or Alive doesn't. It has it, just not as much, because the hold system is so
Right.
powerful that it's a lot of all or nothing in Dead or Alive, and that's why it makes
Yeah.
sense that like what are the skills I said you were excelling at? You were excelling at the neutral because of keep away. You were excelling at you were studying your opponent's strings so that you would kind of knew what was like actual threat from them if they were to use just the strings. If they were to break
Right.
from the strings, it might be different. But if they were to persist in trying to confuse you or overwhelm you with strings, it just wasn't going to happen. And that's what I saw right away against you. I was like, okay, you can't just go ahead and do this string here because he kind of knows he's already studied what the answers are for this string. And that was like the first thing that stood out when I first sparred with you. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I
so
could definitely understand that.
all right, so let's go ahead and get the games going. You got a room open, or you want to create one?
Yes, yes. I
Okay.
sent you an invite. Let me see if I can send you another one.
All right. Well, I see you here, and I can join it. One sec. Go ahead and stay in there if you can.
Cool,
Um,
cool. I have it set to first to three. Change the stage after every
yeah,
game.
it's up to you. However you want to do it. If you want to do first to threes, we can. If you want to do first to ones, and we just keep score, and we just watching the score. Like I don't really care about the score, but it's more like depends if you want to do sets or individuals. Either ones work. So let me see here. Um, all right, I'm gonna join you in just a sec here.
Oh man, does this mean no mercy?
Well, it's because we're practicing. Because I this is so that I can assess you better and I can help you better. So this is why I play hard on you because you're actually strong. So like the reason I play hard on you is because you are strong and because I want to see how far that goes and where it can be improved. Right. Some other people like with you, it's really hard to. It's actually very hard to pin you down, and your Jacky is strong, and you do enough damage. So you do like you've earned me playing very vicious against you.
Dang,
But
that's a compliment.
it's a big compliment, and so the thing is I do want to kind of get ahead of that and kind of like work on it because I do want to help you get stronger, but also not. I don't want you to feel really down when it gets hard in this game too. I want you to know you are very strong, but it's also like there's a lot to this game, and I think you're gonna love it. So, all right, let's do this.
All
So,
right, let's do it.
and thanks for your patience. Thanks for hearing me out on all that.
Of course. Oh, nice.
Thanks.
It was good because most people would have like wanted to wake up 2P.
Nice. Very nice. I like that. So I like a lot of times when you choose to throw. Like I actually really like it. I think you can throw more. I do, but that's like but I really like the when you choose to throw and the way you do it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, this one was just me assuming that you would not do the fastest thing. I almost blocked that. I tried to block that.
Oh, nice. That's still beat my 16.
Yeah.
That's what that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, two.
So
Okay,
that
yeah,
is the weakness to elbow, right? And so you'll
yeah.
learn that. Very good. Good. You can punish that.
Oh, nice.
I like that.
Nice. Nice. I thought you would grab me. I mashed.
I know. But it was
You're really keeping me in Nitaku and like always making me guess. Most
yeah,
people when I play in rank don't do this to me, and they hardly
yeah.
ever even get me in Nitaku.
It's yeah. It's gonna be hard to see this type. The part of it's also I've already have experience fighting you, so now you're dealing with someone who has fought you a bit too, right? And that's the difference about
Right,
ranked, right? Ranked is kind of like we just met kind of thing, you know.
right. Oh, combo. Oh, nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay, that's the back there. Nice. I had to
Thanks.
guess.
Don't worry, you're gonna get used to it. I know you're also watching. So one thing I did notice when I fought you was how much you're actually watching too. And then I think the last game we played in the league, you were watching completely. It was just more like you were like, okay, I think I'm gonna lose to this guy, so I'm gonna watch him. So that's
Right.
the feeling I had when I fought you. It was just like was that you kind of it wasn't that you gave up, but it was just more like I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna watch. So I was like, okay, I think I earned his respect already. So
Right, right.
you know, very nice. I like that. I like that you know exactly what that answer is right there. So,
Yeah, the EX high.
yep. I thought I was gonna get you with that.
Ah, nice. It's back throw, huh?
That's back throw. Now after this back throw, the default answer is you want to roll up or down. You want to mash on guard and roll up or down. So right here. Otherwise, this pounce will get you. So up or down, but
Or
not back.
down, left to right. Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Oh, no, this makes it really.
Very good.
Nice.
Yeah, Leon is nasty because he can do mid-low mix-up, especially on Okizemi. But every low attack though does carry either if it's rewarding, it's got huge risks, and
Right.
if it's got low risk, then it just means that it didn't have much reward. And if it didn't have much
Right.
reward, you can take them, right? So, but the risks, almost all of them are risky though. So,
Oh, nice.
so we're gonna train you on
Oh!
that. We're gonna train you on that. So,
I'm just not. Because that's only like. Even though you could do that in DOA, nobody ever did it in DOA.
yeah,
It's such a VF skill, you know?
it's one of those things that in this game you really want to call your opponent out. You want to knowledge check them. You want to skill check them too. So I
Definitely.
mean,
Yeah.
uh, you want to do both. So very nice. A lot of DOA players. So one thing that is different though with you and a lot of the DOA players that I've played though, a lot of the DOA players I've played, all like one of the first things they'll try to learn are wall combos,
Really?
which
Yeah,
stands out.
it took me like forever to understand the walls.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, no. It's like it's one of those things where it stood out because that's not most people don't. Most people don't. And so I was really surprised how many DOA players would be like they would just come in and the only thing they knew how to do were the wall combos. It was really funny.
Wow. Oh, and he's even deleted.
I like this dash and throw.
Oh, nice.
So this is a
Back
forward
throw.
throw. This is forward throw. This prize exchange. Don't
Oh,
try.
for
Yeah,
real?
yeah.
It's a
Don't try.
mix-up.
So don't. Yeah, I always mix up, but don't try to think that the direction of them is going to give clues. It doesn't do that. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, okay.
They were designed with function in mind first, and by that I mean
Yeah, I see.
function within the mix up. They were designed with the mix up design like first, you know. So the designers aren't thinking about like, oh, because it moves to the front or moves to the back, it's this. No, it's more like, okay, so this is because these throws, some of them existed before the game, before Final Showdown. And so it's more of, okay,
Right.
this character is designed, we want them to have a strong forward throw, and on the back, it's more utility. This other character, we want him to be like strong on both forward and back, right? And then this character is mostly strong on forward, you know. So it's they design it like that, and so because of that, you don't want to think that the visual cues mean anything for the direction. The only thing that you can go by is just, okay, I tried to escape forward. This throw hit me. I know it's not the neutral one, so it must be the back throw. That's what you want to.
Right.
That's what you want to do to learn the throws. Nice, very nice.
Wow. I can't believe they didn't hit like that.
Very good choice.
Oh, snap.
I like this watch. I like the way you watch there.
The buffer.
Well, no, in this case, this is a side combo. So I'll teach you more about Leon's side game later. Very nice. Very nice uppercut. I love that. That was so cool. That was really cool.
Ooh.
I like that you went with the 4P here. Very good. So beautiful. I like the flash kick. So flash kick is good. Your media timing with it is really insane off of the 6-6K. So I really like that.
Yeah, that's
Now,
like.
there is a downside to
Wow,
it, but the downside to it is a crouching attack. But we'll see.
Right, yeah. You can just high crush me on wake up.
Well, kind of. There's a limit to it, but I have to make sure that I'm crouching and that it's not a standing attack. And there are standing lows, so got to be careful.
Oh, right.
Very nice. I like that. That was so good. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
That's the keep away game. That's so good.
Oh, nice. I wanted that. Sabaki.
Yeah.
Dude.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, snap. Okay, that's the sense. It's always after the grab you can do. Okay.
Yep.
Dang.
I bet you're doing really, really well. I like the changes you've made, the adaptations you made too. So
Ooh is definitely not easy.
but you'll learn more and see more. But
Nice.
oh, I thought I got you there.
I'm always first and forward,
Yeah.
bro. Dang, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Thanks. Really like that. Got it.
Okay, that's Nitaku on hit.
Yep.
I see what I'm doing. I see a lot of what I'm doing wrong.
All right. Good.
Like, not even like, oh, I could win in this situation. I'm looking more at like, man, I
Yeah. The
shouldn't
decisions.
evade. Yeah, like I shouldn't evade here. Instead, I could just try to fuzzy first, and then
Yeah.
on the next interaction in that scenario again, I can make a read. Like
Yep. Keep at it.
I'm committing to evade too much.
Yeah. Keep working at it though. You're doing good. I like that choice. Very good. I like that choice too.
Ooh. Nice. I respect it.
So in this case,
Oh,
the problem is your health is too low, so that throw becomes a super high risk choice. So the risk is okay if you're that certain that I was going to do something that would lose to throw. But
right.
but throw becomes very, very risky because of how low your health was. All right. Yep.
Man. Oh, snap. Another round. Nice.
Thanks.
Okay, okay, okay.
Very nice.
Snap.
I see. Very nice.
Oh, snap.
That's a kick Sabaki Leon has.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. No, but those were a lot of good
Dang.
decisions, though. You did a lot of good decisions to stop me from doing the easy way to get there.
Oh,
That's the
perfect,
scary
perfect.
one.
Oh.
This uppercut's cheesy. It's intentionally that way. So it's been that way since VF2. So it'll win some situations, and it's hard to predict which ones.
Right. Ah, good one. Oh, nice.
Yep. Big disadvantage there. So. So what are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I mean, I
We'll
feel like
wait
I'm
till the
just getting
sets.
like outpoked, really,
Okay.
and then like I can't guess your mix-ups,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't find like your throw pattern.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, there is a throw pattern. Because I am letting myself cruise on the throws. So part of it is just
Ah, nice.
thanks.
Oh, snap.
Very nice.
He got reached me.
Oh, that was cool. Oh, that was nice change. I see. Gotta watch out for that. Very nice. So your conversion game is good.
Oh, I got reach.
Oh, I like that conversion right there. Very good commit. Very good commit. Very nice. Very nice.
I need to use that move more. That move goes
It,
way further than I think it does.
yeah, it's also, well, it's really good against stepping for sure. And yeah.
Oh, snap.
Nice. Okay. Okay, good. That was really good. Good game. Good game.
Oof. Yeah, super lucky.
No, you made a really good guess at a couple critical moments. This is really, really good.
And the score's probably like 15 to like 1.
I think you won total. I think you won 2 games at least, 2 or 3. But it's all good.
Good step. Okay, I didn't know the follow up. Ah. In the wall. Oh, nice.
Thanks. Nice.
Oh, I got some reshoots. And on the back.
Man, I like the quick decision making you make.
I was mashing beat knuckle too.
Yeah. So the thing is I am seeing you watching, which means that I have a feeling that you'll be not frame tight, unless you're in the mindset to buff for very key moments. Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. Good neutral throw it there. Excellent choice. All right, let's do it. Oh, I like this. That was a mistake right there. That was a mistake right there.
Every time that happens on every wall splat, I don't know. Tell me if this happens to you. On every wall splat like that, my laptop like freezes.
Does it? Huh. Doesn't happen to me. So,
Really?
yeah.
That's why I hate playing on my laptop.
I see.
Like, dang, I just wish PSN VF was populated, you know, but
You know that I'm happy
it
to
is what
spar
it
on
is.
that too. I'm happy to spar on PSN as well, for future sake too, because like whatever works best for you, you know.
Right. Nice.
And that's a forward throw, just so you know. Good. That's neutral. Good punish. Good punish. I think you can beat knuckle actually. So.
Yeah. I did not anticipate that to whiff.
Yeah.
Oh god, this is terrible. No, that was demonic.
Your use of that kick is so good. It's the thing that's working really well against me too.
that is
I tried to
scary.
outpoke this, but I was too slow. It's really good.
That's right. It's always that one. I haven't seen it enough yet. Oh, I'm dead. Not by a 2P. Anything but a 2P. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's a knee tap, you know, knee tap to push you out. But you are doing really well.
Dang.
You're doing well. The hard part for you is, yeah. I mean, it's just getting used to the force guessing games and stuff like that. But
Right.
your keep away game is incredibly strong. So, but again, it's not about doubling down on the keep away. It's also keeping that in balance with everything else. So, over time we're going to be working more on your mix up. But that also gives for experience. So, that's where I do want you to fight some of my other friends to work on these skills and challenge yourself to fight up close a bit more and maybe even adjust to using different tools because of that. Because Jacky has a lot of good tools. He can play almost all of the games pretty well.
Right.
There we go. I like how fast you react though to stuff.
Oh,
Good. Good going with the mid here. I had a feeling you wanted to go for the sweep, but it's really
I
good.
did too, but I had to stop myself.
Good punish. That was amazing punish here. Good roll. Excellent. Excellent. So the things that I do like about you though is your decision making at those types of spots.
Oh, good job, Ray. Oh, this is terrifying. Get me off the water. Dang it. Oh, it's me. Nice. The one people's cake can't even beat it.
It's my fault. Very good throw. That was an excellent throw choice here.
Oh. I'm scared to throw you because you've already shown me that like, hey, I'm ready for a throw. You know what I mean?
To a degree, but it's still something you got to do. You got to you have to
Right.
challenge yourself to throw more. But but it's harder for you to throw because when you play the keep away game, you don't give yourself many opportunities to throw.
That's true.
So the easier times is like this. I'll show you. Is like, let's say I do this uppercut and you block it. I'm -8, or actually I'm -9 now. So like I'm -9 here. So you either throw or you attack. So you either do like a beat knuckle
Right,
or you
because
do
you can't duck it.
like yeah. So if you do a throw and I tried to duck it, you would beat it, right? So that's a case where just like your health is really high right now. So you don't so the
It's
risk
okay
is
to
not
guess
big.
a throw.
Yeah,
For me,
it's
for me
like
to
just go
attempt
ahead
a throw.
and do it. Because at the very least you know that later on you're more likely to use attack. So when your health is high, go ahead and use the throw just to see to get better information from your opponent. You know?
Right. Because then I can just immediately adapt in those situations. Like, okay, he won't be thrown here. I need
Yeah,
to frame trap him.
exactly. Yeah, because what you're afraid of. So the thing is if I escape the throw, that's not a problem. Don't feel bad if your opponent escapes the throw.
Right.
Be
You feel
afraid. Be
safe.
afraid if they launched you because you went for the throw. That's the only time you're really scared. So yeah. So it's like like this. Yeah. Right. Very good fuzzy there, by the way. So the thing is because you do use fuzzy guards, this makes you very strong against a lot of people. All right, so here I'll fight hard on you now.
Oh, there we go.
And I like the way that you use that. This sequence here is really strong.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah. There you go. See? And now you can punish if I go for it.
Ooh.
So now I have to think a little differently, and that's good.
Oh, that's crazy.
So this is what I like is that the spots where you choose to use that kick is so good. Like you have no idea. It stops a lot of plays.
Oh, wait for the grab.
Yeah, the grab is what cost you here. A launcher would have won.
Oh, you're right. I'm so lost. I thought of what you just said. That changed my whole outlook. Like,
Yeah.
I lead those, like, every situation
Yeah.
like that intensity. Like, hey, I know this
Yeah.
person, I finally got them to commit to block. Or I got the opportunity to do my mix up here with
Right.
Taku.
So
And
it seems
the grab.
so a lot of the way you play is always trying to win, and that's good. But and you do construct stuff, so that's good too. But there's a strong but what you want to do too is you want to monitor the health and use the health as a resource. The higher your health, the more that you can do throw. The lower your health, the harder it is to do that. And so it means, and it doesn't mean you never do it. It just means that like you better be super confident that the throw is the right answer. If your health is low and you're doing that, you better be very certain, you know. And you got to work with your own certainty. So this is what I'm aiming for too. With if you go ahead and just do rising attack, I'm hoping to hit you with that. It's hard. It's not easy for me to do that, by the way. So I'm pretty happy that I got that.
Right. I would have never even known that move would like low crush. Like,
well, it's not that. We'll have to talk about how to beat rising attack after this set. Because it's not about crush there.
Oh, I can't believe.
Okay. So we can talk about this right now. So what are pop quiz? What happens during a trade in VF when two attacks trade?
No clue. I don't think I've ever even seen that.
Okay. So trading almost never happens. So what happens when they hit at the same time? What do you think happens?
I mean, you probably both get hit and take damage.
That's how it works in Tekken.
Right.
And in Virtua Fighter, that's not how it works. And I think Dead or Alive, that's how it works.
Right.
So
it's
in Virtua Fighter, yeah.
Like,
So there is a priority system, and the first priority is the higher damage wins. So if there's a difference in damage they're dealing, the higher damage wins.
But only if it's the same attack, like a mid versus a mid.
No, the mid. Okay, a high attack just needs that. You need to be standing. That's all that matters. If you're crouching, the high attack's gonna whiff.
I thought it works like this. Okay, so let's say 2P on normal hit is +4, right?
Yeah.
So if you 2P again and the opponent throws out a 16 frame mid, doesn't the mid automatically win? Even though
it wins, but not. It wins, but in this case, it's not because of the mid. I mean, yes and no. Okay, so here's why. Here's why it's winning. It's winning because the mid does more damage. That's the first reason. That's the number one reason. Because the mid does more damage than the 2P.
So if it was lower damage than the 2P, and
the 2P would win.
Mid versus low, it would still win?
Well, okay, hypothetically, let's just say if they hit at the same time, Um,
Right.
if they hit at the same time, whichever one has the higher damage is just gonna win. Now, here's the
No matter
thing:
what.
no matter what, except okay. So what is confusing you here? Mids will attack anything because mids make contact against a standing opponent and they make contact against a crouching opponent. Okay,
Right. Two different things.
why is that different from a high?
Because a high can be high crush. You can go under a high
Because
because you have a high.
it's gonna whiff the crouch, right? It's
Right.
gonna, yeah.
It's gonna
And
whiff.
so even if you crouch and did nothing, you didn't even attack, right? High is still just loses because it's whiffing, right?
Right.
So it's the fact that that's crouching that causes that. If you have a low attack but your character is standing, you can still get hit by a high attack.
Right. And I get all that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was more like
So,
wondering like
but the number one thing that's so yeah, we will talk about
it's always
crush,
damage.
but damage is the first thing that's mattering here, right? When they're
Right.
contacting, as long as we're making contact, right? As long as we're making contact. So in this case,
Right.
a
Okay.
high attack just loses to low punch because simply because you're crouching, and so we do call that a high crush, right? That the low punch is a high crush, but it's
Right.
crushing simply by mad because you're crouching. That's the reason. Not because it's just
Right.
said we're just gonna beat it.
It's
It's
evasive.
because you're crouched under it and high attack just loses just is not touching the guy, right? Whereas a
Right.
low attack loses to hop, right? I don't have to be attacking. If I hop, the low's gonna miss, right?
Right.
And so the reason we have low crushes are most low crushes, most of them are in a hop state when they crush the low, right? So they beat the
Right.
low because okay, it whiffed, and then maybe it had an attack that was going to touch the person that's crouching, right? And so, like, let's say Vanessa has her Superman punch, and that is an EX high. Um,
And a low crush because it also
and
goes in the
well,
air. And
it's a low crush because it's an EX high, and because she's hopping. So both of those, right? But um, but if the person crouches and does nothing,
you
um,
completely
you're
evade it.
just gonna be whiffing, right? It's not gonna make contact because it's an EX high, right? EX high will still whiff against somebody that's crouching. So that's why you know exactly how I'm beating your EX highs, your Jacky's EX highs, just like you're beating my Leon's EX highs because you just crouch and wait,
Right. PKP.
and you make
Right.
sure you attack after the hit frames have passed, after it's in recovery. And
Right. Pretty
so
much a whiff punish to that point.
yeah, yeah. So it's funny the people jumping in the room. Anyways, so it's so again, now let's get to the rising attack. Rising attacks do 20 damage. So by that logic, what how much damage do I need to do um to beat
21.
21 or more, correct? So as long as I can line up the hit frames of an attack that's 21 damage or more against a rising attack, generally it'll win. The cases where it doesn't is of course if I did a high attack and you did low rising attack and your character's crouching, right?
Right.
But if you did like but you know if you did like a high attack against a mid attack, the high attack that if the high attack does more damage, it'll still win, right?
Right.
So damage is the number one factor when it comes to beating rising attacks. So the reason I was winning wasn't because it was crushing your low. It was because this attack was doing more damage than 20, and that I lined up the hit frames. I lined it up so that it would make contact the moment that you're vulnerable, because when you do rising attack, it's invincible until the hit frames start. That's why
Right.
people
So
whiff,
you
right?
could try to clash and win the clash.
So yeah, but attacks do have
Yeah.
multiple hit frames. They have like usually they have two or three, and some have five. Um, some have even more. Like Leon has an attack that's like seven hit frames, I think. so, um,
Right.
but
Like a lingering hitbox.
yeah. So the reason I beat it wasn't because it was a low crush, though that is a way to beat the low rising attack. Absolutely. Um,
Dang, but that move actually doesn't have any low crush to it. I already knew about the
no.
tag.
Well, that
I
the
didn't
thing
even know you
is
could low
you
crush.
might be confused with which move it is because it looks similar to his hop kick. It's not, What the move I used was his forward stance into like the big half circular kick that kicks way high, and then after
Yeah.
that it kicks mid, but it's
Right.
full
Yeah. And
circular.
it looked like his foot, like it looks like he kind of elevates on the air, like it's almost like a mini hop on the second kick.
Looks like it,
Regardless,
yeah,
I believe you. It
yeah,
probably did the tech you did,
yeah,
and you're right, right. You can still like low crush too, which is what I go for
yeah.
because I feel
But
like doing like the Jacky tech version, like 4-6 K plus G. I feel like I just struggle really hard to like do that timing.
yeah,
It's almost like doing like a
well,
two frame in like Smash Bros.
it is tough. Let's see how many. I need to see how many hit frames is that move is too. So let's take a look at Jacky's move list here. So Jacky's 4-6K plus G. Okay. Let's take a look at that and use that as a case study here. So 4-6K plus G is it's a 17 frame attack, which is great. 17 frame attacks that can beat
Wow,
rising
that's
attacks are good.
fast.
It has 4 hit frames. So it hits on
Dang,
17,
that's pretty
18,
good.
19, and 20. It hits on 17, 18, 19, 20. It does 32 damage. This thing beats a lot of stuff. This thing pretty much beats everything. So 4-6K plus
But
G, if
you
it
can
can line
only
up,
win those interactions
yeah,
if the moves come out at the same speed and they clash like that.
yeah, if they
Or
clash,
it
it's gonna
doesn't
win.
matter if it's the same speed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's the same speed. It just needs to clash, right? As long as it clashes, this move pretty much wins.
Right. They
Like,
just need to hit.
like the
Okay,
damage
I
this
understand.
17 frame move is doing, it's punching above its weight. Because 32 damage, that 32 damage, most attacks that are doing 32 damage are like 24 to 30 frames, 30 to 32 frames execution. This is a 17 frame. This is as fast as my sidekick, as Leon's sidekick, you know? And so it's like,
Dang.
and so this makes it really good. And because it's a mid, it's gonna beat the low rising attack and the mid rising attack. So it just beats all. Now, why is it's hard to beat rising attack? It's hard to meaty with this too. Why? And by the way, the risk on this move is really low. It's minus 15. That sounds bad when you come from other fighters. Minus 15 is like a 35 damage combo usually. It's usually not that much. Minus
Right.
18 is where you're really worried about stuff. So
Right.
at minus
Which you're gonna need
15,
is like a 6 pay key. A
yes. Yeah, so,
six PK.
so
Yeah.
so at minus 15, the risk is really low for this move that just, and the thing is they can't evade punish this. They can whiff punish it. So the biggest risk for this move is whiff punishment. Is that you whiff with it. That's the biggest
Right.
risk.
And it hits so far that that's almost really hard to whiff with that move.
Yeah, well, I mean, slow moves can do it when they see it coming, right? Or when they see it, but they have to react pretty fast to it. This is a reasonably fast move. So 4-6K
Right.
plus G is a
Yeah.
really strong move. Your use of 6-6K is really good, by the way. It's like it. Anytime I wanted to do ECD attack, you just use that move and it would just stuff almost every attempt at doing something a little tricky with that spacing. Um, that said, 6-6K, the downside to it, there's not that much downside because I have to evade it really early to really punish that move. But it does for Leon. Leon can Sabaki it, but I wouldn't worry about that. It's hard to Sabaki the situations where I'm trying to get you with, and when you interrupt me with that move. So I love the way you're using Jacky's 6-6K. It's fantastic. I have to, like, it's something I have to study because I'm realizing I'm vulnerable to that thing. Um, Not that you should overuse it. It's just that you're using it at exactly the right moments to use that move against me. So good. But yeah, 4-6K plus G, such a good way to punish to destroy a rising attack, and because it's 17 frames, not 24 frames, and not 30 frames, it's something where you could reasonably respond to their wake up and then time it pretty well. It's hard, but you could do it. So it's you're able to react with it and use this move to beat rising attack, which is very scary. So in the long term, that's a huge skill to have. Um, that's a
Yeah.
really
That's
huge
something I
skill.
really need to practice.
Yeah, so it's one of those like just allow yourself to do it once in a while. Well, when your health is high, you know, when your health is high, just work
Right.
on it. It's you're gonna probably lose the situation. Your opponent has to learn how to punish it anyways, right? But the punish is not that high. It's not that high against this thing. Minus 15 is really not that bad. So um, Yes, most games guard punish is like the worst thing ever. This game, it's not that bad. It's resource you can manage. So as long as your health is like,
Right.
as long as your health is like more than 40%, you're fine. You're not worried about the minus 15 that much.
Interesting.
Yeah, you'll start and when you start playing with this mindset, you'll start seeing how many people don't punish it, and that becomes a read
Right.
by itself. So you're like, this guy punishes it, this guy doesn't. It's really important. It's really really important to play that way in Virtua Fighter. Um, Everything's just like we talked about with the throw. Using a throw early when your health is high, using a throw, it's you can stomach the risk. And the chances are they don't really do that. Chances are the first time you do the throw, and if they abari it, unless they fought you a lot before, they're probably going to just elbow you or uppercut you, in which case the uppercut won't even counter hit. So it won't launch. So it's one of those things where the the risk for doing a throw when your health is high is still pretty low. Throw becomes risky when your health is really really low, so that them jabbing you wins. Yeah, then that's why you have to be very careful now when you do it. Um, when a simple combo can kill you, can end the round, that's when throw becomes more risky. And you're like, it doesn't mean you don't do it. It just means you better have more certainty about using it, more confidence that it's
Right.
the right option. So you got to work with like risk reward. How confident are you? And then also, how sure are you they're gonna do this thing you think they're gonna do? This is a game about beating your opponent directly, not their character, them, the way they make their decisions. So, for example, let's flip Nitaku on its head. I'm fighting somebody, and every time I do mid rising attack, they block it and they throw me. And I keep losing to it because I keep thinking, oh, they blocked my rising attack, I should evade. Oh, they blocked my rising attack, I should guard, right?
Right.
And that's okay. But now you start to see this is the pattern, and you start to see that they only do the throw here. Okay, so now next time I do rising attack, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be a little greedy. I'm gonna watch to see if they guard it, and if they guard it, I'm gonna do a launcher. Like as Jacky, I'll do 6K.
Right. Or you can just beat knuckle.
Yeah, and if your health is really high, well, here's the thing: six in this case, when you want to beat a throw, beat knuckle. What does beat knuckle need to combo? It needs to recovery hit at least, but throw is a very fast thing. So beat knuckle does work. It does. But I will say 6K is a really scary thing. But beat knuckle is fine against throw. So yeah, beat knuckle is a great one. But I think 6K is very terrifying. So
Right.
um,
Way more damage.
yeah, if do the one if you're gonna go that deep and you're committing to beating the throw, then do whichever one's gonna do more damage if you're gonna go that far, because no matter what, you are probably gonna be blown up if they chose to attack, right?
That is true. Yeah, you might as well.
So if you're gonna take the risk,
But sometimes
make
I
sure
get
your
scared of
rewards
the
are.
situation.
I know. So this is the hard part about coming from other fighting games. Other fighting games have a very powerful. This is the right way to play. This is how not to get
Right.
oppressed. Most games oppress you. Most fighting games, it's about, okay, this is the setup I do, and they have to wait it out, and they have to defend it correctly. High block, high block, high block, low block, high block, low block, high block, right? They got to do. They got to play this sequence, right? And there are guessing points, but they're very scary to do. Virtua Fighter, like I said, in my view, it's always your turn. It's always their turn too. So
Right.
you can get blown up most of the time. Now, definitely, I have to be thinking about which option you're likely to do. And in your case, you're likely to see the same kind of things because you are playing in a safe way, which is good. And you're playing a very strong keep away game. So there's not many options your opponent can do, but it might be making it harder for you to see just how many options there really are. And so that's why I take these different approaches, and I'm trying to show you like No, you're really still stuck in a guessing game. If I make it a guessing game, if I evade this, you're at a big disadvantage, right? If I duck this, you're at a huge disadvantage, right? And it's hard to do this, but now it's doing a lot to you, and it's showing you just how vulnerable you are, right? Like you're feeling more vulnerable when you fight me, but the way you play is very, very hard to actually. It's really hard to beat you up. You're very strong, you know. Um,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
but I am trying to like evade at the right moments, and part of it's also that. So the main places that you throw right now is on your initiative when you want to assert your authority. Okay.
Yeah.
So the most common throw pattern you have is actually dash and throw in certain key moments.
Yeah.
Now, there's two problems with this. The first problem is that you eventually want to add in, and you kind of have it already. Your 6-6K, it kind of covers this. So let's just say what could have been a weakness for another player, it's not a weakness for you, but for other players, the weakness for the dash and throw is they don't do dash and attack. You actually do. So you actually do like that, like 6-6K in a way, like, but you, because you play keep away a lot, you've been playing with delay timing and like built into your game. You're still buffering, but you're buffering dashes and crouch dashes, and you are doing. And so, evading you is actually tricky. I make it look easy, but I'm doing a lot
Yeah,
of. But
you
I'm.
make it look incredibly
But
easy, but
it's really hard to evade you.
I just you blow my mind the fact that like you know how like fundamentally it's not even just VF, right? Like you could
Yeah.
probably break down the way I play fighting games as a whole.
So right now, so how am I evading you when a lot of people struggle to do that? I'm using like delayed evade. Like I'm like doing a backdash into evade in certain situations, and I'm also applying a lot of pressure to try to get you to buffer when I try to see when you're willing to buffer, when you realize you
Right,
got to.
I've
And
learned
buffering
that.
is so buffering is not bad though. I don't want you to think buffering is bad. It's more about understanding that if you had buffered throw, my evade attempt would lose.
Right,
So
I'll track you, by all means.
so the thing that you got to think about is if he evaded me or when you rewatch the match, he sidestepped me there. If I threw the same time that I buffered the same time I buffered the attack, if instead of buffering the attack, and this is a hard one because in real time it's hard to make this adjustment. In real time, you're like, okay, so I need to throw, and then you delay throw, and then you still lose. Right? Because you're supposed to,
Yeah,
because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to throw. You end up doing like attack and then throw. And it's like, no, 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 that's not what you're supposed to do. You gotta. It was supposed to be throw instead of attack. It had to be
right. Almost
completely
like
like the
instead of
timing
starting my
had.
offense in that moment with a throw,
Yeah,
I'm
and
setting my
and
throw
it's
up with an attack all the time.
and it's hard because when you come from other, well, even when you play VF, it's more comfortable to set up a throw by like poking in the throw. It is way more comfortable
Right,
doing that. So
right.
the way to get comfortable in this game is to learn how to throw when you block something good. When you block an uppercut, I challenge you to throw at least once in a game. At least once. Be like, okay, I blocked this side kick. Because here's the thing, when you block something big in this game, they usually push themselves into you. They usually push themselves into throw range. You don't have to dash, they're in throw range.
Right.
So when your health is high, just try to make sure that at least once a game you're doing this. Just once a game. And
Just dip my toe in that.
there's two things that are happening when you do this. Number one, you're officially mixing up now because and you've shown your opponent I can throw. Okay? And
Right.
that simply puts it in their head that you might throw. That might make them hesitate. That might make them change their decisions a little. That might make them a little more scared of you. Okay? And you only had to do it once. If you did it never, they don't have to guess. But if you did it once, somewhere in there, it's gonna be in there. And
Right.
and
It's like
the,
planting a seed.
and the stronger the player, the more likely it's in their head.
Right.
So the
No,
stronger the
exactly.
opponent, the more
Okay.
likely it's
I
in their
totally
head.
understand.
So you need to at least do it once in a game. I'm not saying once around. I'm just saying do it at least once in the whole game. That alone will like plant the seed. Um, but also I want you to get comfortable doing it because it is a really good option. And a lot of people, I already told you in private that I kind of get a little strong when I talk about that this game is not a turn taking game, and that's because this is the core fundamental of it. Because if you treat it as a turn taking game, it's this strong opinion. Oh, you should have attacked. You should have attacked, right? And oh, you should
Right.
guard. You should. Your minus. You should guard. You should guard. No, this is rock paper scissors, man. If I know you're gonna guard, I should throw. you know.
Right.
But
Right.
so what happens is when you think of it in turns, they go for the low first, and I look. I play Leon and I do a lot of lows. There's no denying that. But you also saw how much
Right.
I threw you, right? you know,
Yeah. Definitely.
right?
And also just how many mids too.
Yeah. So I'm doing all of it, right? And it's important to do all of it. It's important to show it there. So then the other factor is this, yeah, because you do 6 6K, that can kind of help disguise your throw a little because your opponent has to think about if you're dashing in that maybe you're gonna attack. But for a lot of, I'll say that for a lot of other people that have as much experience with VF as you do, which is not much, they will like when they dash throw, it's so obvious that a player like me will just like launch them when we see that, like, oh, now they're ready to
Right.
throw it because they didn't like, they were attacking based on their spacing, and so I kind of knew which attacks they were doing because of the spacing. And because I was like, yeah, this is because they're taking turns, right? but
Well,
but when they dash in, oh, now they want to throw, right? But if you actually train yourself to do like crouch dash and the uppercut, you might be surprised how much you might sometimes get like a counter hit launch uppercut just off of that, and that will get someone like me to like think twice when you dash in. And now your dash and throw is much more powerful, you know.
yeah, I need to build up that muscle memory.
Yeah. So build up. You definitely the skills that you have in the game shows that you have good muscle memory. That you build it, that you train, and so what you want to do is you want to train options. Don't worry about habits. I don't. I try to teach people that instead of trying to tell yourself not to do the quote unquote bad habit, try to replace anything you see as a bad habit. Just try to replace it with a good habit, and that doesn't mean lecturing yourself when you do the bad thing. Just get yourself to find a thing you like to do in that same situation, and keep doing that. And at some point, that thing will either override or become an option. And then maybe your old bad habit becomes an option. So just keep adding options. Just practice doing stuff in that situation. Build other muscle memory and think and do use positive reinforcement to get yourself to go, no, actually I like this thing more, so I'm going to use this better option more. And then later on you get under control so that you can like that you get control not by telling yourself not to do something, but by giving yourself the skill and the comfort in doing other things too. And and if you do that way, I mean, some people they do have to use some fire to forge the option. I get that, and that's cool. If that's what you have to do, that's cool. But I've seen a lot of people get angry for like 2 weeks, can't get themselves to stop doing something. I was like, well, try to get yourself to do something you really like to do instead.
Right.
Sorry, I'm feeling like the allergy type of stuff where my throat gets dry. But yeah,
Oh, it's fun.
so so that makes sense, right? Um, Sorry, I probably overloaded you.
I want I'm motivated. I want to try again because a lot of it, like the key things that stuck is I need a immediate time grab more to
yeah,
call out your evades.
yeah.
And something I know about myself is I just need to use more circular moves in general. That's just like
You do pretty good
it's
with
just a
your
must for the
circular
game.
moves. So your game does use them. Your game uses 1K plus G and sometimes 4 6K plus G, but better yet, you do 4P. And so, and you do different half circulars. I
Yeah.
did not study your evade habit though. Part of it's because there's enough pressure, but also because you're more of a patient type. You're not somebody who's always sidestepping, which is a good thing. The fact is actually you kind of hold and watch, and you 2G, and you do fuzzy in the neutral, which I love. I'm blown away that you do fuzzy in the neutral the way you do, because it is, you're doing it like a more advanced player does it. So I'm pretty blown
Right.
away
Yeah.
like what you're bringing into the game this early in playing VF only a couple months. So so keep it
It's
up.
tough.
Yeah, but you do it really good, because a lot of people are not a lot of people try not to do it, and I'm like, no, you should start doing this. Like fuzzy guard isn't just to do in minus. Like you kind of got to get used to the idea of doing this like in the neutral and in general, because even sometimes
Right.
when you're in Nitaku, if your opponent doesn't play the Nitaku, then it's fine to do. you know, so
Right, right. They try to do some crazy delay mix up, or they try to offensive
or
move to the side, you know?
or because they're watching, right? Like here's the thing:
Right.
your game is okay. Your game is playing reactively. So let's put that on the table right now. You play on delay timing more often than not, but you're capable of buffering. It's just that you prefer to play the watching game, the observation game. But when you play the observation game, it but the thing is though, you've also trained yourself to kind of respond to things that threaten it. So I have tried to do some things to threaten it, and you like you catch on really quick. Like you kind of have a built-in reflex to like not. This is part of why your keep away game's effective. Is that you kind of know, oh, here's this situation, they're gonna come in, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick this out there to just to because it's proper keep away. You know,
Right. They're trying to
your
counter you.
keep away game is exceptionally strong, but but at the same time, for you to step further and to be much stronger though, at some point you're going to have to integrate more of the guessing game, but you're going to have to get yourself to play in a way that's less comfortable, but this is going to make you a stronger player overall. I don't know how. I'm not going to try to force you to do that. I'm just going to say at some point you're going to find different ways that you will do that, but that is really important. But one of the easy ways for you is just, okay, if you block something like really big, try throwing there. And then just know that, okay, if throwing didn't work, all I had to do was just do the launcher, just do 6K or beat knuckle, you know, and that would have worked. And then it becomes like that. It becomes, oh, okay, I just guessed wrong, right? It doesn't become, oh, I'm so bad, I did this, I shouldn't have done that. When players
Right.
think like that's when they struggle to get better. And I'm like, no, no, just train them as options and be like, oh, you know what? Okay, I guessed wrong. I went for the throw, but they launched. You know what? I just do the launcher. I was the one with the advantage, right? Or they sidestep my launcher. Okay, I just throw, and it's really that simple, you know. But it is something that where it's like you have to feedback based on what on the history. That's the difference. Right now, you respond to the action that's happening right away on screen, and that's your strength. That is the strength of a good keep away game and a good whiff punish game. But to get good at the
Right.
guessing, but to get good at mix up game, which you are solid at the mix up game, but we're talking about how to get your game to be better. That's the area for you to get better. And to do that is going to be committing. Like, okay, I just blocked something pretty big. I'm just going to go ahead and throw. I'm just going to go ahead and attack big. I'm going to do one of those two things. And I'll try to do it based on what I think they'll do. So I'm just going to try to watch. And the easiest way to watch is to do throw. Why? Because when you do the throw option, if they do attack, you can see which attack they used. If you win with the
That's
attack option, if you win with the attack option, you actually don't really see what they did. You kind of have an idea. You knew they attacked. So if you won, so you're just like, huh, okay. And so you're working with less perfect information. And so I do encourage just at least in one of the rounds when your health is high, just do the throw and just be don't get upset when if you lose it. Just be like, well, that's what they do, and then you have a better idea of how they play. So,
right.
all right, let's. Anyways, we can go ahead and spar. I know I've overloaded already, but I hope that makes sense.
No, I have some cool ideas.
All right, awesome. Let's see what you bring. And it's gonna be scary, especially on this stage. But it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh goodness, the small stage.
Yeah, I love taco though. so
No, for real.
Very good. I like this too. Again, your instinct for when somebody decides to go this like you you very quickly go into delay speed one when someone goes speed two.
Right. Oh, good. My bad. Oh, man, I really thought that was gonna
Yeah.
hit the backdash.
The wall. This
Hey,
this thing is. I
very
got to
too
crumple.
nice.
Yeah. Nice choice here.
I respect it.
Very nice. Let me move my stick here. I like the side throw choice. Like that choice too.
Oh, nice. I had to guess. Oh,
That wasn't guaranteed though.
oh, that was a good crush.
Very good punish. Very good conversion.
Ah, it's not.
That was really
I
good
felt
though.
a lot better that match though.
You did.
I
You
felt a
did.
lot more competent.
Yeah. No, well, you're feeling more confident in the options is really good. But also, again, your keep away skills are really good. They're instinctual, and it's very scary how instinctual they are.
Reactive.
Got it. Very good. You're doing good space control. Get around to it. This was excellent.
Oh, good one, Bree. Oh, nice.
Thanks.
Oh, nice. That's his face in range. I was trying to get that 3-3-P. Oh, snap. I'm dead. Ah, dang it. Good game, good game.
Very good game. No, that was extremely well played.
Shoot. I think I need to use 3K a lot more. I'm not sure if that would beat a lot of the backdashing, but I just know 1P plus K and beat knuckle aren't reaching.
Yeah.
Maybe 4K plus G. I want to see if this I can do to beat the backdash.
It's good to try it. It's good to work on it because you want to. It's huge.
Okay, switch. Guaranteed. Forward break. Oh, good reaction.
Thank you.
Oh, really should stay. The combo. Oh, the mix. Oh, good high crush. I mean, low crush. High
No,
crush.
it is a high crush, yeah.
Forward.
So good.
Oh, snap. I'm staying down. Oh, snap. Oh.
No, that was really, really good games, though. All three of those games were extremely good.
Ooh, yeah, those are definitely. I felt the intensity.
I have time for probably this will probably be last set though because I'm gonna go to bed. But this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing this session with you, and I'll definitely connect you with some others to spar with as well.
Oh, heck yeah. GG's to you. I appreciate the butt whooping.
You're doing great. Very nice. There's downside to that though.
Nice commitment to the ball.
Very good punish.
Oh, no. Thank you. Ah, that's right. The same setup. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So this. Yeah. And that's.
She's blocked. People's K. Oh, safe. Guard break, nice. Oh, that would be well. Oh, snap. Okay, I see. Oh, yeah, am I doing some things that I
No.
should be doing?
No, it's because
I
you're
was filtering.
watching. Well, you're watching is what you're doing. So it's actually more that you're watching. So you have very good reaction speed. So
Ooh, lock in, lock in. Time to sweat.
there you go.
Nice, nice. Your
Thanks.
back turn. I should just block right there every time.
You can low punch right away usually.
Oh, didn't know. Until it's low.
Man, that's guaranteed. It's insane.
Oh, crap, that don't work.
That was really good.
Oh, snap, I thought you got.
I tried
Oh,
to low block this, but I think I was locked. I don't know. It felt like I was locked because I tried to low block it.
yeah.
Good. You got to punish that too.
Oh, snap, it's been far. Oh.
That was good. That was really good.
Oh, nice. Always hated it. Ah, perfect. That was the most perfect guard break.
I just have to get somebody obsessed with blocking. So first, it's
I know
it's
it's so crazy. It's so
well, it's like
hard
it's
to
hard to
like
sense it.
adapt.
It's hard to sense it, but it's like you have to kind of be convinced that they really are set on guarding. So because
Right, right. Okay, I guess it's wrong way. Oh, dang it. Damn. Oh, no. Ah, even with no delay.
we'll do one more set. This has been a lot of fun though, and it's fun watching you observing like how you're responding to it. So you're doing great.
Trying to solve like the puzzle, dude, like the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. So the hard part is again, this is a game where, as I said, you, or as GT said actually, you want to stay a step ahead of your opponent, and so it's because, like I said, it goes into seasons. And so the
Right.
options that you should be doing, or the category of options you should be doing, changes with your opponent. Love that too. I like the way that stance works.
I won't reach.
Jacky's
He's,
sidekick has trouble reaching that, but his six. That's why his your 6 K is really good at that. But it is vulnerable
yeah.
to evade, but it's still really good because you can do it with like built-in evade. But I do I love how sharp your pressure game is though, especially there.
Oh, good back dash. Nope.
So if I
I
force
want to
side turn,
attack, but
if I force
it's
in the side turn,
guaranteed to
don't
hit you.
attack. Yeah, attack is
Yeah.
the worst
Oh my
option.
goodness. I just thought you would grab me for some reason.
That was really good.
person after I OM in the 4P 2P
Yeah.
that has evaded my 6P. I didn't know you could even evade there.
You can definitely. Yeah. I just have to make sure I don't evade too early. So.
Right, right. It's a timing thing for sure.
Very good.
Oh, nice. I wasn't ready. Boom. For neutral throw. I gotta be big brain and go for neutral throw.
That was really good. That sequence always gets me too. That one's really good. That's really good.
Is that a low or is that a mid? That last
This is a
one you
low.
did?
This is a low right here. And that's a low too.
Oh, that's a low?
Yeah, he's going after your ankles.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh, good, good, good. You knew like I either had to block or I had to evade.
Yeah. Well, Leon's sidekick is half circular, so you have to evade to Leon's back. In general, evading to Leon's back is really powerful. Now, if you have trouble doing that, my tip is to look at his front foot. Just stare at his front foot. Practice against the AI, like in training mode, like level 5, and just don't play to win. Just play to kind of like every time you're at disadvantage, evade to Leon's front foot, which is his backside. But that is the best side to evade Leon in general. So.
Got you. Oh, snap! No! Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, this delay is where you know to do this 6-6K here. It's really good.
Okay, now minus 16.
So hard to tech that. Very good. That was such a good play. Good play.
Nice!
So good. I like that you use beat knuckle right here without hesitation, but you also know which one to do it. It's very scary.
Yeah, I'm like willing to commit to it.
The thing that's scary about you too is when you do really quick like attack to stop stuff, and then when you wait, it's like your where you choose to do it is really difficult.
Oh snap! The evil stage. Oh snap! It still reach me. Yeah, I was screwed. Nice. Oh, that was such a good eye crush.
Very very good choice here. That's really good.
Oh snap! Oh!
That was an awesome get last game. That was an awesome last game.
Yeah, GG's.
GG's, you did extremely well there.
Oof.
So I had a
That's
blast
one
with
of the
that.
biggest beatdowns I ever had.
You're doing really well, but again, like again, your keep away game is incredibly strong. Your whiff punish game is good. Your mix up game is good too, but um, keep working on
That's
your
what I gotta
comfort
work
level
on
with the
too.
mix up. Keep working on your comfort level with mix up, especially if you're fighting players that are not as strong. I definitely advise you to keep working on those things too, and try to understand what that is and what that means to you. Um, but but the way you're playing is incredibly powerful. It's really good. It's just more that
Right.
but you're gonna want to be able to keep improving on that stuff. But you're doing great. Like you're in a period where there's a lot of different ways to get even stronger, and the way you're playing right now is really strong, and that's why you're going to be climbing ranks pretty well. But you just gotta but as you're already doing, keep working on the things that you're less comfortable with too. But the things that you're comfortable with, you're incredibly powerful. They are really good. But this is a game that's going to reward you for being like more well-rounded. So keep this stuff that's really strong, and but this is a game where you are going to have to work on some areas that you have a harder time with. But right now, the way that you play does control the match a lot, and it is a strength of Jacky. So so whichever way is fun, definitely do. So if you find fun using, try finding like you use most of the move list. So the amount of the moves you use already is a lot, but challenge yourself to just to play around with a bit more stuff too, because there's definitely a lot of room to grow. But you're at an amazing starting point. So keep it up. Um,
I've had a pretty fast improvement compared to other VF players.
well, you bring like really strong skills that really work, and and you're playing with the right character to do that, but you're also you're playing that character to their strengths, which is also really good. Um, this also means though that like this also means that there's going to be a challenge in the way for you to like step up like another tier, for example, is going to be a little harder. You're starting at a very advanced place for the amount of time you've played VF. So that's high compliments to you, and it's high compliments to your skill. But it also means it might be your curiosity is going to be the thing that helps you, and it has been, and it will continue to help you. So definitely keep being curious as you are. Keep yourself open minded, and but especially the challenge then is to improve the things that you're not so good that you feel you're not so good at. Um, it doesn't mean not to do the other things, but it does mean that like those are the things that are hard to improve, and you're gonna want to improve them. But there's many ways to do that right now, so it's an exciting time because it could be adding more options. Like could be better at using guard throw escape more, right? Throw escape is definitely
Yeah,
an area that you're having more that where like it is tested, and you definitely do throw escapes, but you definitely could be doing more, right? And
well, I feel like I always guess wrong,
so that's part of it.
which is
Part of
just
it
natural. I
is
mean, I'm
yeah,
new. I don't have the muscle memory to be like, oh,
yeah.
I'm at this part of the
What
stage against this
what I
character
was gonna
too.
say
I know.
is so what I was gonna say is that sometimes one day we'll do this the next time we spar, but sometimes especially I'll set it to like a one game set, and we'll just play, and what we'll do is I'll tell you which throw I'm gonna do, and what that will do is
Mm.
it'll make it easier for you to escape the throws, but you may realize how much you're not escaping them.
Yeah, that's actually really
Okay,
smart. I want to try that.
a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize how well they don't realize two things. One, they don't realize like how much like they might have been at the last second switching directions, but it was still too late, right? But when we do this
Right,
drill, it forces you to deal with that, to see it, right? Because there's no excuse there. I only told you one direction, right? So
right.
and then two, you actually start to see a lot more of the opportunities for throw. You start to realize how good throw is. And because when you play someone like me, like I'll show you, I'll end up showing you just how often I can throw you that you didn't even think throw was going to be happening there. And in the match, you were like, oh, I know I did the throw escape, but then when you do this drill, you don't have that excuse anymore. You're like, oh my god, I wasn't even thinking about throw escape, you
Right.
know. So so this is a drill I do with a lot of players, and it's helped them improve their throw escape game a lot. Now the challenge is you don't want to like be obsessed with throw escape. That's the hard part because if you know Kage's gonna 10 foot toss you, if you know he's gonna jab and 10 foot toss you, what's the answer?
You should interrupt them.
Yeah, you should launch him, right? It's about,
Right.
but so what it is that the throw escape has to just be this thing that's just existing in your game when you're not buffering the next move or not doing something else. So, but it's like, but it needs to be there like when you whiff, it needs to be there because you're vulnerable to throw, and throw is faster than any attack. So this is like the 10 frame punish, right? And it's a punish
Right.
if you're not doing
So
the
no
escape.
matter what, that's only a guaranteed attempt. You can still break that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you whiff, you want to do a throw escape, and then you do the next thing, right? Then you're like, okay, but like, oh, he's not throwing. I'm gonna prepare to do the next thing. So you want to get like you only want to do throw escape as long as you normally would have held guard. You don't want to end up holding guard forever because you are waiting to throw escape. And I don't think you have that problem. I really don't think you will have this problem, but a lot of beginners do. So I have to tell them. I have to tell them the trick is that you're working on your throw escape. It doesn't mean that you just sit there turtling with the throw escape. Like that's the
Yeah.
worst
And
thing to
you
do.
don't want to guess.
Yeah,
You're just doing that
you,
just in
you
case you have to guess.
yeah, you just want to protect yourself from the throw option when you're vulnerable,
Right.
but you also know that right now if we're in the neutral and you did attack would have won against throw. So Doesn't mean that you mash either. It just means okay, while you're guarding, you do the throw escape, and then whenever you're guarding, you're either doing a throw escape most of the time, or you're buffering your next move, which is a reasonable amount of time. So,
Right.
um, so that's why it's hard to give this advice. But this drill helps. Playing that drill where I'm just like I'm just gonna do forward throw, and if I make a mistake, I'll apologize out loud so you know I made the mistake. You know, because sometimes the
Right.
instinct takes over and I'll do back throw. You know, and so it's like if you put more pressure on me, I'll probably start doing back throw, and it's like, oh, sorry, it was hard. It's like my hands went ahead of me. You know, because my instinct is screaming at me to do the other throw. You know,
Right.
but most of the time when I do this drill, usually I can keep it reasonably within there, and then and but we can see, and you'll see just how much throwing is happening. It takes the guessing out, and so you're not mentally stacked with that anymore. You're like, and also because you're supposed to build the throw escape like a reflex, just like the rest of your game has it. Um, so it's supposed to be more of something that's happening in the background. It has to be a passive thing that you do. That you're just doing a throw escape because it's the situation, and then you're quickly moving on to buffering your next move. You know.
So it's not something because I've been treating it like this. So you're probably gonna think I'm goofy. I've been treating it like almost every time I guard, I
Yeah.
try to hold throw escape
No, no,
because
that's
I
that's
started.
100% the way you have to do. That's 100% correct.
Oh, okay, right. So it's supposed to be like muscle memory.
It's supposed to be. It's throw escape is a layer of armor. It's all it is.
Right.
It is
Right.
protecting your decision to guard, and it is also protecting your decision to evade. So when you evade, you can do a throw escape as well. Even when you do fuzzy guard, you can finish it with guard throw escape and then do the next thing. So you do want to build that. Like when you're doing fuzzy guard, you kind of build in because you want to defend against delay throw. You know, because fuzzy guard loses to delay throw. So
Right. Oh, that's smart to do.
so
I
so
didn't
it's
even
just
think to do
so
that.
anytime that you're guarding, just holding guard by itself almost never good. You know.
Right. Right.
So,
You're missing half your armor.
yeah, exactly. But you're doing so much amazing stuff. But this is also why it can be hard for some people. It can be hard to give some of that advice because of how competent and strong your keep away game is, which you play it like a good VF Jacky. It's really scary. You're very strong at it, but it also means the other parts of the equation are kind of in the shadows, and so it doesn't mean
Right.
they're bad, but it means it's hard to assess because of how good your keep away game is, right? And it's hard
Yeah, I
to
need to
challenge you on it.
apply the other skills more.
But eventually, you'll deal with someone who will force you to do that, or you know, the downside with always playing keep away is it's not as active and sometimes it's not winning, but your keep away wins pretty well. Your keep away is very scary like that. So, and you do change gears. You do shift into offense, into defense, into offense. So I think your flow is great. Um, but
Yeah, it's just hard to keep up with you. You know, like the skill difference and
yeah,
everything.
well, there's an experience difference too, right? I'm like, okay, I'll just throw him something he doesn't know. But it's not
Right.
exactly that because you know that it's still in VF. It's still very functional, so it's still understandable, and it still goes back to the core.
Right.
So the main stuff is that I do need to teach you Leon's side turn game, so you know. But you kind of figured it out. You're like, oh, if I get hit this way, he has this guaranteed
Yeah.
follow up. Like, there's nothing I can do,
Yeah. PKP.
right? And you're very good at figuring out what you can, when you can do something, when you can't. So listening to you process that was really good. Was like, okay, like you're really consciously processing these situations, you know, and like you're
Yeah, I'm trying to
really
learn on the
learning
go,
them.
like learn on the fly.
Yeah, not everyone can do that. You do it really well. I actually can't really do it that well, because like I will forget a lot. Like Jacky has a
It
scrub
won't
killer
become muscle
sequence.
memory.
Like Jacky's most notorious scrub killer sequence is sidekick P2KK, right? 3K
Yeah.
P2KK because here's the situation where Jacky forced you to guard high and then guard low. You know,
Right.
and so and that doesn't happen much in music. There's not many mid into low like strings actually. It's usually high into low or high into mid, and then it's like mid into high. But getting like mid high low is really Mid high low is not that common.
Fair.
So because of that, a lot of people it took me a long time to deal with it too, because I don't like it took me a long time to realize it started with a sidekick, because in my memory I'll just remember the elbow punch part. I'll just remember that there was a high
Right.
punch into a low kick. It's similar to like you don't have this problem, but for a lot of beginners, if I do like low punch in the throw, if I ask them to remember how they got thrown, they'll think that like I blocked and threw. They won't realize that I interrupted with the low punch and went to throw right away, because it's just not in the memory banks, and
Right.
it happens so
And it's super
fast.
fast.
It just happens super fast, right? So I have to kind of point it out to them so they realize, and then they go, oh, right. And then when some players go, what is the like, they're like, how do I deal with low punch, right? And I was like, I had to kind of tell them, well, there technically for the low punch by itself, there's two answers. If you know for sure they're gonna low punch, then you crush it, right? You do a hop attack. But if you, but generally the standard answer is you block and you do elbow. But you're worried about when they hit you with low punch. They're like, yeah, it's too strong. I'm like, well, you have to understand the low punch is not the threat. The low punch sets it up. You need to be worried about what they do after low punch. So even if you get hit by low punch, you just kind of want to go, oh, now we're in the mix up. And then what am I going to do there? So then you start learning, oh, I should defend because they're doing this, or I should attack because they're throwing me, right? And
Right.
it's like, so the hard part is just understanding that like your focus is fixated on that low punch, but you want to get to the point where you're not fixated on the low punch, but you just know how to respond even when you get hit by the low punch. And that's a hard thing to do. It takes a lot of experience to do for a lot of people. For you, you have it right away from your other experience, or whatever. But you already have it. So when the first, like, I just started fighting you a week ago, week and a half ago. So yeah, it was clear you had that already. Like, you can see it. You're responding. Your responses in the poke situation is actually very strong. It's your responses in the Nitaku that's actually could be much better. So
Yeah. Because, like, every fighting game, my weakness has always been just, like, pure 50-50 raw guess. I'm just
yeah.
not a strong guesser.
So what I do want to say is I'm gonna say something that I say a lot of times. So, but I hope it makes sense to you. I hate calling them 50-50s because because your opponent's never 50-50. So when I think of it that way, I feel like 50-50 are bad odds. You know, what it
Right.
is, and then we want to get to the core. So I've already talked to you about this in private about it. We want to get to the core of what it is. So the core is you can go on a you can take the approach of like you can try to read, but you can also just condition. Okay, so how do you condition? Condition is like you just like poke throw, poke throw, poke throw, poke throw, and keep doing it until you finally see them to attack you back. Once you see them attack you now, or once you start seeing them slow down or speed up, now you do poke attack. That's the conditioned way. The reading way is like what I told you with rising attack. I do a rising attack, and I just kind of hold guard throw escape. Okay, so after my rising attack got blocked, I'm gonna do guard throw escape. What do they do? Do the throw. Okay, guard throw escape, and then next time I do a rising attack, guard throw escape, and they did the throw, and I lost. Okay, so now I'm gonna purposely do this situation, and I'm gonna purposely attack, because I know that they throw when they block my rising attack. And then this is similar
Right.
to like in this case Jacky's uppercut. You do the uppercut, watch what they do when they block after they block it. And if they throw you like twice, I would say you should definitely do it, like do the uppercut on purpose. If you get the counter hit, of course you do the combo. But if they block it, you're looking for it. You're like, when he blocks this uppercut, I am gonna launch him.
6K.
Okay? That's what I want you to. That's how you play it, the Nitaku. This is not randomly doing the mid or randomly doing the throw. This is not flipping a coin. This is responding to the information your opponent gave you.
Right, because it's almost like that situation literally forces a reaction from the opponent.
Yeah.
Right, right. So I get it. In those
Yeah.
situations, you can gather info. All
And
right, this is how they like to
but
respond.
also Nitaku is actually not just it's we call it forced to choice and it is, but actually this game doesn't really have pure mix-ups that much. It's really rare. What do I mean by that? Okay,
I
if
guess like not like
it
mid
means
low,
there's
maybe
no
50
it
50.
means there's always a way to hack it.
Mm,
Okay, so for example, you saw that I have Kicksabaki, right?
right.
Okay, what if your Jacky was just every time like, or what if you're I was fighting Jeffrey, and every time Jeffrey blocks my uppercut, they're either doing knee attack or throw. Sabaki beats both
Oh, because it's also an attack,
because it's an attack that beats the knee and the kick, and
so
then
it automatically needs to throw.
yep, and then it also because it's an attack, it also beats throw, right? There's a lot of things like that in this game, but you want to get good at the mix up first, and then make your opponent do the hard thing of beating it.
Right, then you can play
Okay.
into that.
Yeah. So this game, it's like so. Don't think of the mix up game as like it is called a mix up game because it really is. But the nature of the mix up game is not flipping a coin. It's not at all. It might be in Tekken because like you really are looking at two options that are like
Right.
optimized,
Just
right?
casino.
Because they're optimized, right? Yeah. So, well, because they're optimized, and you're just like, well, there's no reason to do anything but these two things, right? In
Right.
VF, there's
VF is just
VF is
different.
different, right? So, like in the case of Jeffrey, what can Jeffrey do if I start using Sabaki? Do you know what Jeffrey can do? He can start using uppercut that launches. He can start using his headbutt, right? You know what I mean? That changes things, right? So, if
I caught on to that specific thing early with the dude I play offline with because he plays Lei Fei,
yeah,
and he made me believe Lei Fei was super anti Jacky because he would always bait me to attack,
yeah,
with an elbow, 1P plus K, and he would always be baiting me with Lei Fei's punch sabaki,
yeah,
and I couldn't even do the frame trap 2P plus K and the side shuffle PP
yeah,
because as soon as the side shuffle P came out, he was already punch sabaki. But I
yeah.
caught on, I adapted, and I was like, wait, I
Use
can
six
bait
K.
him
Yeah,
to do that, and I can fake out the side shuffle. And
yeah,
instead of doing the PP, I just evade, and I end up evading. You can get a full launch 6K.
exactly. No, exactly. So it's there are pure mix-ups, but they're very hard to come by. And almost always, like the ones that are actually really pure in a move list, are things that like one of them is super slow while the other one is fast. You know,
Mm.
because speed has to factor into a mix-up too. Otherwise, they'll just lose to low punch if it was a slow mix-up, right?
Right, right.
It'll just lose to like anything. If you can't mix up with two 30 frame attacks, but you can mix up with one of them being 30 frames if the other one is frame tight. But it also means that the frame tight needs to
Right,
be done kind of a bit more because it's just winning attacks. But
right.
like
You can do that too to break their fuzzy.
yeah. So this game, that forced guess situation is really deep. It there are actual good reasons to do high punch or low punch instead. You know,
Right.
and
You
but
know
it,
what's a weakness I've noticed that I have, or that I think I have a weird Tekken habit because Jacky and Law and Tekken have a lot of similar moves.
yeah,
Like Jacky's 2P plus K, that's Law's forward 1 plus 2. It's called Dragon Hammer. It operates the same. It's plus
yeah,
3 on block.
it's really
Counter
good.
launching mid. But the difference is in Tekken is all these instances where like, oh, this opponent did this move that's -6, -7, whatever. It's safe, but it's minus enough to discourage you to attack.
Yeah,
That's free Dragon Hammers. I've noticed that people put me in positions. You do this to me too.
yeah,
Everybody does. But like maybe the move is like -6,
uh
and
huh,
in my Tekken brain, I'm thinking, he's -6. He's forced to sit still. Like
yeah,
he either has to crouch jab because that's the safest thing, or he has to block. But everybody always either 2Ps me out of my 2P plus K, or I get
yeah,
evaded.
yeah.
And I'm
Well,
like,
and
oh,
so
Tekken have it.
that's the beautiful thing about this game too is Okay, let's say Jacky's six. I know you don't use Jacky's 6K much, but Jacky's 6K risk reward. It's got a high reward, right?
Right.
What is the biggest risks to that move?
It's pretty bad on block, and it has no tracking.
Okay,
And it doesn't
so
really. It doesn't have like massive range. It's
okay,
decent.
so here's the thing though. In in poker, if you have a greater than 50% chance, do you usually go for it or no? In poker,
I would say yeah. I mean, it's in your
yeah,
favor.
generally it's in your favor, so usually that's a go, right? Okay,
Right.
so here's the thing. Jackie's 6K is like it's minus, but it's not. It's guard punishable, but the guard punish is not much. Okay, the
And it
guard
like, and it like minus 16, minus 17.
it is, but a
But I
lot
mean,
of
most
times,
GA players don't like optimally
actually, like
punish either, though.
so Jeffrey, it's like minus 15. Jackie is yeah, it's let's see here. Jackie, it's only
Jackie's like a
minus
decent
15.
beat up one.
It's only minus 15. Beat knuckle
Oh,
can't
it's
even
only
punish it.
minus 15.
Yeah. So now guard punish is not the big deal. And in fact,
Now the
what
worth
what
is
does
being evaded.
what does more damage? The guard punish or the 6K combo?
6K.
Yes, correct. So that means you should do it, right? Now, so the actual risk is what you just figured out. It's the evade.
Right.
If that move gets evaded, it can be launch punish. And it can even be crumple
Right.
comboed because of side turn. So
Dang.
so because of that, the risk is if they evade. So when you use that
Wait.
move,
I have a question
yeah,
because that's something that happens to me a lot. Is that people will evade even in the middle of my string, whatever. It
yeah,
did it to me too, and they give me in the side crumple state.
yeah.
If they evade me, they're on my side. Just because I whiffed, even if I'm not continuing the string, but just because I whiffed, I'm gonna be auto side crumpled if they
Uh,
do a move.
no. It depends on the character. So Leon, yes, Leon has a way to do if he can recovery hit you with like that 2 hand poke on the side,
Right.
and so I am known for being really good at doing this. So a lot of players
Yeah.
have asked me how to do it because a lot of people play Leon and you'll see not many of them do it, and it's actually not that hard. It's just that it's a technique you have to really practice, and I do think it's harder on pad than on. I can do it on pad, but it's way harder to do on pad than like on stick or all button controller.
So
By like a
that will
lot.
happen anytime you evade me,
No, only
and
if I
like
evade only if I evade something big enough. Only if I evade something big enough.
right. But like,
Yeah,
so for it to count as like a full on whiff punish,
yeah.
but
I
even if
I have
I'm
to
not
confirm.
continuing the string,
Depends on the
it's gonna
string.
punish you.
Sometimes if you continue the string, it'll protect you because you might hit me out of that thing. But um,
But
so
I can't do that to you
strings are
specifically because you
I'll say
already know the
string.
counter to 1P plus K.
Yeah, I'll say the string. It depends on string. Now that said, other characters they usually need a counter hit on side,
Ah,
and
okay.
so they usually need a counter hit. In the case of Leon, he can do it on a recovery hit, but I better evade confirm it because the last thing I want you to do is to evade that move. I don't want you to end up evading that
Right.
move. So if you evade that move, I'm in trouble. So
Okay, I
even from side
understand. So
turns, yeah,
it's two different states. There's a counter hit state and there's a whiff
yeah,
recovery type of state.
yes. So there's recovery hit and there's counter hit, which is hitting the startup. So counter hit happens when you hit the startup frames or the hit frames, and you win on trade, right? Because you did more
Right.
damage. And then and then recovery hit is when you hit the recovery frames. And so this move has to hit side recovery frames. And so recovery hitting actually does matter to some moves. Like I think Jackie's 1 PK might need recovery hit, but recovery hit can give sometimes can make certain things guaranteed. And then
Mm.
but also there is a damage bonus. So on the attack that actually hit with recovery hit, it's plus 25% of that move of that attack's damage is added.
Dang.
But counter hit is plus 50%. And
Dang.
actually, counter hit is not just that. Actually, there's two types of counter hit, and we'll call them minor counter hit and major counter hit. Minor counter hits what you usually have, which is any if you if you counter hit with an attack, if you counter hit somebody's attack and that attack had 24 or less damage, you'll do plus 50%. But if you counter hit an attack that is plus 50% damage, you'll get 75% of that attack of
like
your
like
attack's
Akira's
bonus.
shoulder. Like if I 6K Akira's
So
shoulder, I'm gonna do even more damage.
this is why Akira's like if Akira's body check counter hits you when you're doing like a big 30 damage attack, then his like bonus is ridiculous. Yeah.
Right. That's why it does so much damage. Okay.
Yeah. So and then on the yeah, and so yeah, that's kind of how that works. So if now
Yeah.
so character like me rarely is going to win that way, but a character like Akira can because Akira has high damage attacks that are fast.
Right.
Characters like the heavy characters have also we'll get into these like these monster battles where they're big move versus big move, right? And so
Right.
that's where you'll see that crazy big damage because of that. Um, but like but the light characters rarely do that. Akira stands out because he's heavy middleweight, but he's got the combination of high speed attacks that do more than 25 damage. So
Right.
he's actually getting like benefiting from these ridiculous major counter hits. So
It's crazy.
but the heavy characters do benefit from their strings doing good damage so that they can so it's actually can be hard to like if I evade their string and they continue to do string and I try to high punch it, I might get out hit because they might hit on the same time, but their attacks just does more damage. So then I'm in trouble.
So it's gonna win.
Yeah, so the heavy characters have really good strings actually. The lightweight characters have annoying strings, but the heavier characters have actually good strings. They'll have mids and they'll have strings like Jacky has really good. He's got like the best strings of like the heavy middleweight characters. But the heavy characters have really good strings because they'll have like mids in there, they'll have EX highs in there, they can maybe combo if they counter hit with certain parts of them, stuff like that. So like Jeffrey Wolf have actually really good strings. So um,
I
it's
believe it. I fought a wolf player like the first time. I think it was yesterday, and he smoked me.
yeah,
I didn't know what was going on.
like you'll just get out hit of stuff. Like you'll try to evade and jab and they'll out hit you because they're still doing a string, so
Right.
stuff like that. Yeah. Um so this game is this game is awesome. I think the design of the game is amazing. I think Final Showdown for me is my favorite Virtua Fighter. Now this is so much fun and this could be the best one, but I don't know. The verdict's still out, but it is fresh and exciting, and a lot of people are playing Revo right now. So, and Revo is just really Final Showdown with like changes, but the changes are significant enough that I treat it differently, and I'm like, this is a lot of fun. We're playing a game that is being balance patched and different, but it is still Final Showdown. But Final Showdown itself to me is like, yeah, my favorite fighting game of all time, and I love all the VF games, but I think the system is
Is it
just
the year
it
three?
makes I love Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle is one of my favorite games too. It's just very different. So VF3 is hard to get into, but when you figure it out, when you figure out how to control it, VF3 is definitely the game where the better you are at the game, the more beautiful it is, but the worse you are, the more ugly it is. So
Mm.
if you're not good at it, it's ugly as hell. But when you're good at VF3, it's really beautiful in motion. And also, surprisingly, it plays a lot more like modern Tekken. Um,
Interesting.
it's because um, a lot of like it's
And it
because of the
has like
changes.
Yutaku.
Well, like it plays more spatial. It's a lot more keep away and whiff punish, and
Mm.
there is a guessing component to it, and it's there. It is still strong, but it's not the same. You know, there's option selects. It's actually got a lot of option selects. But it plays very spatial because that one is using the more like I mean, it's the first 3D. It's the first of its type that had as much 3D movement as it has, right? And so the and it's more spatial based. So moving around means you're harder to hit in that game, you know.
Right.
And so like it's a lot of becomes a lot more whiff punishing as a result. And in that game the combos are short, so you kind of like you do like a simple combo. Jacky just has to do elbow kick into pounce. So all Jacky needs, I mean, Jacky's just he like for a beginner, they just need to just try to hit with elbow. So you're like, so learn how to move, and then if you feel like you're just out of reach, and that they do a low punch, you can elbow kick them and then pounce them, and you've done a third of their life. You know, and so there's a strong the keep away game is strong with Jacky, in that game, and it's like the basic first starting point. And then after that, you get into more mind games. Um,
Right.
but that game is like the pinnacle of what I call analog Virtua Fighter. And I think Virtua Fighter 4 is when it started what we call digital modern Virtua Fighter, because
Hmm.
that's when the sidestepping became like what it is now, where sidestepping is more like a parry in Third Strike or more of like a defensive tech, you know.
Right.
But Virtua Fighter 3, it's like actual like no, we're gonna make you whiff by using the sidestepping, and you know Korean stepping came from Virtua Fighter 3. So um,
Dang.
this kid, Akira Kid, is the one who at the Max Battle tournament, you know, dominated that tournament with his Akira just moving all over the place, and the rest of the field didn't know what to do with that at the time, you know. And yeah, it was an awesome tournament, and I'll send you a video sometime. I'll send you a link to the videos, so you
Oh,
can kind
I
of see
also
it.
wanted to ask you, how, how do you find, like, even if it's older versions of VF5, how do I find just footage and matches? Like, I try to search and I can't really find too much. Like, I want to see more
Yeah,
Tonkatsu, Tonchan, even the other Jacky. What is it, Chinpai,
yeah.
Chinpan?
I'll send you links. There's ways. So yeah, depending on what you want to find, but also, do you ever go to virtuafighter.com much?
I don't actually.
You should. So you go there, and in their forums, there's a forum called VFTV. You scroll down to
Hmm.
Media Center, and it's called VFTV. Okay, and
Wait,
Mike,
what's the website called?
just virtuafighter.com. Virtuafighter as one word.com. This is a fan site, and Sega lets them use this domain. But this site, virtuafighter.com, is an amazing site. It's where I get.
Oh, yeah, this is the forums.
Yeah. So you go to the forums in virtuafighter.com, and you go to the VFTV Virtua Fighter, you know, the VF.TV forums, and in there,
Uh-huh.
if you scroll down, you'll see. If you go to page 2, you'll see like that Mike had posted a lot of stuff. I don't see it right now. You'll see stuff like look for the threads created by Mike MYKE. He's the owner of RichFighter.com. And like for example, I'm looking at Tokyo Bay Area Cup 2021 season 4. And so you'll see the video link at the top, but also when you go to the spoiler timestamps, he has a script that basically finds the timestamps for all the matches and the time and the amount of time on the matches. So you look at the ones that look like they have a normal amount of time, not 30 seconds, okay? And then because the 30 seconds are usually just single player when they're like the machine is they're in between and they just haven't got the other player to come to his match yet. But you look at the ones that are like a minute and a half or 3 minutes or whatever, and so you jump to those where the timestamp shows, and you'll get to see matches of pro players playing different characters. These are from the arcade. Now these are Final Showdown, and Revo is different from Final Showdown, but it's you know Revo is an update to Final Showdown, so it's a balance patch of Final Showdown. But you'll still see
Yeah.
amazing stuff. So yeah, you want to watch those. They're amazing battles, and you'll see a lot of how people play, and you'll see like a broader range of skills in the Japanese arcade scene, and so that actually gives you a lot, allows you to see a lot more things than what you might see if you just watch a player go through ranked. So If you watch a
Right.
player go through ranked, you're gonna see a lot of same stuff. If you watch arcade tournaments, you're gonna see a wide range of stuff, and you're gonna see how they deal with very different opponents, and then you're gonna see them use something super powerful against like weaker opponents. But it's important to see those because when you watch the high level matches, they're playing around it, you know. So
Right.
so if you want to see actually what they're playing around, you watch matches like this, or even if you watch lower level Japanese play, you can see what people are playing around at the high level. So yeah, I'll send you more links
Right.
for that too. But there's
Oh yeah,
definitely
that would
lots
be
of
super
videos.
helpful.
But yeah, but the VFTV forum has a treasure trove of Final Showdown videos. You definitely want to check those out. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at one right now.
So all right, I gotta go to bed, but I had a great time. Thank you very very much. And
Thank you for all the matches, all the advice, being super nice to me and everything. It's been a really cool time playing and all that.
no, you're doing an amazing job. I mean, on your own, you've brought a huge skill set to your to VF, and then and the way that you're adapting to VF has been incredible. So keep it up, but be prepared for the tough times, and don't let those tough times discourage you too much. You know, it is part. But this game will give you so much to work on and learn for years if you let it. It's amazing, and I think you're gonna. I just think it's such an amazing game. So, yeah,
Yeah, I've been having too much fun with this game.
I'm glad to hear that. So, all right, man. You have a good night, and I'll catch you later. And I'll send you more links to videos too. So,
All right, I appreciate it. You have a good night too.
you have a good night. Cheers, man.
All righty, see ya.